All right, the last thing I wanted to cover before we do a bunch of practice problems in 7.7 is the profit from a bond trade. Remember, if you're buying bonds, you're loaning the company money. That's different than buying stocks that you actually own part of the company. Bonds, you're just loaning them company money, and they're a little more, they're a little less risky than buying stocks in a company because that way you're tied to the company, but you could possibly make more money. But a nice safe investment are bonds. Sometimes they're government backed. And in exchange for lending the company money, the investor will receive a fixed income return on their investment after a given period of time. So the ending value of the bond is the original cost plus the interest. And that's also called the face value of the bond. It's typically $1,000, but it can vary. And bonds also have a maturity date, which is the date the interest will be paid. So it's not like you get a whole bunch of payments. It's when it's matured, you turn it in and get the interest that was agreed to ahead of time. So, for example, if you buy 4 bonds, face value $1,000 each, simple interest rate of 5.8, which is 0.058 as a decimal per year, and its maturity rate is 10 years after they were issued. All right. He paid for these 4 bonds, he paid $4,725. So notice he didn't pay 1,000 each because he bought them 3 years after the bonds were issued. So they were issued for 10 years, but he bought them 3 years in. So there's only 7 left. So this is how much he still paid for them because they're already worth more, right, than 1,000 each. After the bonds were issued, he keeps the bonds until maturity. He finds his total profit and the percent return. So with the bonds, it's a simple interest formula. So interest equals the principal is the 4,000 each. This is the original calculation, okay, for the when they were first issued. It's $1,000 each, buys 4 of them, that's 4,000 at the simple interest rate of 0.058 for 10 years. That's when they were issued. So that would be the total amount interest for 4 bonds for 10 years. Okay. So you add that together. This is the amount paid for 4 bonds at maturity. And what he paid was the 4,725. So he's expecting a profit after the 7 years of 1,595. Okay. So the percent return on this, his investment, okay, this is 1595 divided by 4,725, and you get this decimal times 100 to get a percent return overall. But most things go by return percent per year. So that's actually 4.8%, which is certainly more than you're getting in like a checking or savings account right now, right? So let's practice a few of these. I can get them all in the picture so I don't have to forget about moving them up. There we go. Okay. So an investor purchased 800 shares. And sorry, this is as dark as it goes. I'll try to write a little darker. 800 shares of stock at 63.25 per share. And then sold them later for 65.28 per share. Don't forget there's commission on this stock, purchasing and selling, and apparently this is 2%. Oops, 2%, right? You don't need to put this other 0 unless it reminds you where to put the decimal in the right place, right? I did do the math earlier. Please let me know in an email if any of these numbers are incorrect. I think I to check them. All right, but this is the amount of commission on both purchase and sale. All right, so to purchase this amount of stock, it cost the 506. Hang on, this is where the extra zero went. I apologize. Times 0.02. Okay. Plus the 1012. So it cost, that's the purchase price, including the commission. And you add it because that's the cost of purchasing. This one is what you sold it for. So your income is this minus its commission. So 51,17952. And if you take those numbers and subtract them from each other, you will find that it costs more, right? This is the bigger number here. So you're going to get a difference of 43248. Think about that. You paid, let's see, let's start with, you paid, okay, and then you earned, let's move this over. With all those big numbers flying around, that wasn't enough of a raise in stock price to cover the commission that you had to pay, the fees that you had to pay for the buying and selling of that stock. So kind of a cautionary tale there. Try number 2. Move over a little bit. 550 at 5160, 28,380. Purchase was 2%. So commission. So total purchase was 28,380 plus 5676 equals 28,9476. Oh, total purchase. All right. And then notice that the sale was a little less. Sold it for this. I think we're looking at a big loss. So clearly bought it for more than she sold it. So let's find out the size of the loss. We sold it all for $49.70. And there was the broker took a smaller commission, I guess, maybe because they knew right off the bat it was going to be a loss. Who knows? It's also called the proceeds. When you how much you sold it for minus the commission for selling it, and if the purchase price, or excuse me, purchase cost all in is that minus your proceeds is a $2,000 approximately loss. Okay. So be careful if the buying and selling have different commission amounts. Okay. And then the last one, suppose you buy 500 shares at $22. It pays an annual dividend of 1.7 or $1.70 per share, and then you sell it, all your shares for $38 3 years later. And then it says ignoring commissions. So and then you have dividend. What did it say? 1.7 times 500 shares that you had. 3 years later. So you had this for 3 years. So these are dividend profits. Okay, so we had 19,000 minus 11,000 purchase price. It's $8,000 plus your dividends equals a gain of 10,000. Good job. All right. Then your best friend buys 500 shares of a stock for $20. Cost him purchase of 10,000. And then it doesn't pay dividends, but he sells it for 38 3 years later. So 19 minus 10 of the purchase price equals 9,000. Which of you makes more money? You do. How much more? 10, 5, 0, 9,000, 1,005 more. Okay, not too bad.